Be still and know that you, that we, that I, that we are all God. As we see that beautiful sunrise as we were coming in this morning with the orange and the red and the blue all melding together at one, and knowing that we are all one too, all one in harmony, all one in voice, all one in spirit, all one within this place that we call the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and one within the sound that tunes us in, not only in this place, but in Facebook and all over the world. Please join me in affirming, and so it is. We are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. And now we begin the ceremony that celebrates this oneness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths come for the one universal principle and one universal presence, which we call spirit. Please join me in welcoming Zoe as our candlelighter. We miss her so. She's all the way on the East Coast. Okay, so let us begin. The Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. New Thought, that's us, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The last candle is the healing candle of love, of peace, of oneness, whatever word speaks to you. We invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone you wish to be included in this healing flame of love, of light, of peace. Now that our flames of faith are fully lit, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Please join me in our purpose, our vision, and our mission statements. Our purpose, what is our reason for being? We awaken and inspire love and oneness. Our vision, what do we want to create? What do we want to become? We are an empowered, uplifting, inclusive community. In our mission, how are we going to go about doing this? We teach spiritual transformation with grace and joy. You can always count on you, Judy. Today's sacred reading is two of Ernest Holmes' quotes that I really felt like were really relevant for today's talk. I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the force of nature in its grasp. I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine. I know that this presence is all-knowing and all-power, and it's always right where I am, right where you are. And that's Ernest Holmes. And so it is.
And so it is. As I look back on my life, I see those people who love to be right. They gain joy by telling me that I'm not enough. I see that they're wrong, I'm calling their bluff. And this is how I learned to free myself. Here I am, I'm awake, I'm alive. Here I am, I'm ready to thrive. Here I am, it feels good to be me. Here I am, and I'm feeling so free. Ready to blast into infinity. Now I look into my mind and my soul. Take out the traumas, both new and the old. I gently hold them, then gradually feel them, heal them, let them be free. And this is how I learn to heal myself. Here I am, I'm awake, I'm alive. Here I am, I'm ready to thrive. Here I am, it feels good to be me. Here I am, and I'm feeling so free. Ready to blast into infinity. Now I let new relationships form. Healthy people I love, making my heart all warm. I see how they live and they love me this way. I take notes and learn to love myself the same way. And this is how I learn to love myself. Here I am, I'm awake, I'm alive. Here I am, I'm ready to thrive. Here I am, it feels good to be me. Here I am, and I'm feeling so free. Ready to blast into infinity. Now I risk it all. I follow my heart and trust in my soul. I aim my goals high as I start to sing, realizing I can do anything. And this is how I learn to believe in myself. Here I am, I'm awake, I'm alive. Here I am, I'm ready to thrive. Here I am, it feels good to be me. Here I am, and I'm feeling so free. Ready to blast into infinity. Thank you, God, I'm finally free.
Zoe, it's so good to have you back.
Zoe.
My name is Karen Blair Sherman. I am one of the many licensed practitioners here, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to stand at this moment so that I do not forget anyone, and I just have to remember Robert right there holding the presents. So there is Robert, and there is Bob, and Rev Dawn, Ann, Stevie, Linda, myself, and Zoe. And Judy. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Judy. I asked them to stand because if you are here, and we have a big crowd here today, if you are here, then you can tap any one of us to ask for a 1-minute miracle. And that is just us knowing the truth for you, whether it's the truth of the joy that you have going on in your life, or whether it's the truth of a struggle that's going on in your life. We are going to know and see the truth for you. And we do that for each other all the time. Right now, I don't want to also forget that there are some new people here in the crowd possibly. And if they would like to raise their hand, or if you would like to just in chat say, I am new to this community, we have practitioners that are here to greet you and say hello here. If you are here, right here in the building, we have a packet that we'd love to give to you. So, okay. Well, thank you very much, friends. If you are shy and do not wish to raise your hand, you always can just ask Judy on the way out for that packet. So we have lots of ways that we love to pray. I mentioned the 1-minute miracle. That's one way, but there are many ways that we as practitioners love to pray. There's a little blue slip that you can fill out, or it might be white, and you can stick it in that box as you walked in the door. It's right there to your immediate right, and it's a big brown box, and we are going to know those prayers. I will send them out today, immediately after we are done, and we will know those for you. There's also a place on our website that you can go and you can click on about prayers, and Rev Linda will send those out to us, and we also will pray for you all week. And then you also can call here at the center. Rev Don, if he is not here or Blaze is not here, they will get that message, and either himself or he will tap one of us asking us to contact you in whatever way that you've asked us to contact you, and we will sit down with you and have a longer session. Those sessions are available and critical, I feel like. There are lots of people in my life I know who, like, the holidays are not always the easiest time, and if that is you, because that has been me. Last week I had an accident and I needed to call on my friends. And so know that we are here for you. You are never alone. You are just one click of the computer, one call of your phone, or just sitting in meditation and knowing that you are totally surrounded in love and joy and peace. Now we have some announcements that you can say yes to. And first it's about our
Winter Solstice Walk. Isn't that awesome? Winter Solstice Walk. Oh my gosh, it's coming up. It's Tuesday night. And Claire?
I'm ready.
Claire, what are you ready for?
I'm ready for the solstice walk.
Oh, you sure look like you're ready. Now, you do know that we're going to have like 5 or 6 warming pits. You do know we're going to have 5 or 6 warming pits there, right?
Yeah, but I like to be prepared.
Do you? And you know that it's not a stand around thing. We're going to be walking around, right?
Oh.
Yeah, but you look really, really ready for this event. Like,
Let's go to -75.
okay. Well, if it's -75, you guys all have a good time. So, what day of the week is it, Claire?
Tuesday,
What time?
6:30.
To 7:30.
Yes.
Awesome. And we're going to be doing things like you're going to get a chance to release. You're going to get a chance to honor and remember. You're going to get a chance to set your intention for the new year. And then, guess what you get to do?
Cookies.
No, before cookies. You get to do a wish for the world. Isn't that awesome? How can you miss this event? And then what? Cookies! So please, 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 this is absolutely the most magical event that we put on. And so it's a personal invitation from me to all of you. Don't worry about getting cold. Don't worry about that it's a walk. We will get you through it. I promise you. Come join us for this night that we're going to talk about all year. And Claire, you are ready to go.
Thank you, Linda and Claire. We also have some other announcements. Not only do we have our magical winter Solstice happening. We also have Christmas Eve that's going to be happening. If you would like to come, you can come join us here, or we also are going to have it on Facebook Live. That is Christmas Eve, which is December 24th at 6:30 p.m. Right after service today, Judy and everyone else who is helping with the bag party would love to have your help, if you're so inclined, to help put all of those goodies into bags. And then we also have more details coming in the near future about our World Healing Peace Meditation. Remember that happens late on the 30th, very early on the 31st of New Year's Eve. It's very early in the morning, but people sometimes get confused and think it's going into the new year. But it's actually happening in the very wee hours of New Year's Eve. I believe that is complete, except for to tell you about our wonderful speaker that is coming forward. I have actually had the honor, I don't know that people know this, of knowing Stevie since she was in junior high school because she went to school with my son Damon. And so they were at Clark Middle School, they were trying to encourage math. There were only 2 students who were taking geometry in the 8th grade, and that was Damon. And so not only does she do poetry, spoken word, and is a rap artist, this girl has an intelligent, flowing mind of mathematics and science. So it is no surprise, right, that she ended up here with all of us doing this incredible talk. And I just love her so much. And I know that you will love her too, as she invites you into her heart and the words of her soul that have always been there since she was very little, and I can remember and attest to that. So, more music.
I trust in you.
Wow. I need a warning next time. I am like a little bit teary-eyed. I don't think you guys understand how much I needed that this morning. So thank you. And that's actually the perfect segue. I hope you can hear me okay. Hey. When I think about the holidays, we're kicking off this week of Christmas, and then before you know it, it's New Year's. So we're in the thick of it. And I always think about the Christmas tree. It's always a huge symbolic piece of this element of holiday and love and gifting and surprises. But that Christmas tree can also come with emotions. And a lot of times those emotions can be fear or faith. So what a segue. Not everybody can look at the presents under the tree and feel a lot of faith. Not everybody has presents to put under the tree. Some people feel fear that there's not enough to give to others, or that maybe they didn't get what they wanted. So there's so many mixed emotions that I have recognized as an adult, from my youth, from people that I know that come up this time of year. When I was a kid, I love telling my personal stories because it just doesn't get any realer than this. When I was a kid, I think I couldn't have been any older than 7. It was a Christmas that the tree was filled, and there was some years after that where we didn't see as much. So this was one of the last years that I recall it being an ample amount of presents. Now, I come from 5 siblings, so think about how many presents, if even everybody just gets 4, it's stacked, and then the 2 parents, of course. So I was looking at all the presents, and I'm very observant. Math is in my language, as Karen pointed out, so I'm counting and I'm trying to see who's got what. And yeah, so by the time we were getting ready to open presents, I had one thing in mind. I knew that there was a gift I had asked for, and nothing else mattered but this gift. And this gift was a doctor set. It came with like the stethoscope and a couple of the other little tools, and I was 6 years old, and I just knew I was gonna heal people and help fix people. True story, I swear. And so we rotated, and my parents are always very meticulous. They didn't just have us all 5 attack the tree. We would hand them out, and they were, like I said, they had a strategy involved. And so I'm pouting at this point because they keep giving me these presents, and I keep opening them, and what am I not finding? My doctor set. I was at the point where I couldn't even be happy about anything else I was opening because I was so fixated on this doctor set. So now I'm looking at the tree, and it's looking a little sparse. And I still don't have no doctor set. So I think I was actually at the point where I was crying. I know, thank you guys. I couldn't have written this in any better. I need the commentary. And I remember my parents starting to as an adult, I remember this, they were kind of laughing, like they were getting a kick out of this, which was fueling my flame even more. So I knew that I wanted, all my other siblings were just happy and bouncing off the walls, and there I was pouting, tears falling because I couldn't be a doctor. So my dad finally hands me the final present, literally the last present under the Christmas tree. And I'm crying, I'm snotty probably, can't even see straight at this point. And my mom is just sitting there like, open your gift, open your gift. Guess what it was? The doctor said. And I was so upset with the situation, but at the end of the day, sometimes when you love something, you gotta be willing to let it go. And all the unnecessary stress, not to mention the inability to see all the other gifts that were right in front of me, including the one thing I had asked for, because I was so worried and afraid instead of just letting it go and trusting. So the title of my talk today is What's Under Your Tree? Thank you, Rev, for that one, because that was very clever. I can't take credit. But what is under your tree? Now, a couple of different things that I'm going to touch on today. Really, I'm keeping it the what, the why, and the how. So my 3 points, I got to follow the structure. The what, the why, the how. So make a list and check it twice. That's kind of the what. Now, twice, I said. Now, you can't, no more than twice. The what, what's in it for me? So why? Why do we need to let go? Why is it important to separate ourselves when we are putting our request or our list out into the universe? Why is it so important to let that go and to surrender? And then, of course, the last thing, how? It is so easy to talk about what works in this philosophy, but one thing about me, if you've been here for any of my speeches, I want to give you a little bit of homework and make sure that you have some practical ways to bring this to life. So that being said, make a list and check it twice. Now, I'm going to use a lot of analogies because that's just what I do. We think about Santa as being spirit or God or the universe. Whatever word works for you, I will let you supplement. He says, make a list and check it twice. He does not say check it 3 times and 4 times and 5 and 6 and 7 times. Check it twice. So what does that really mean to me? If you think about even our treatment here, there's a format, and if you happen to stick around for a 1-minute miracle, you may catch this. I'm giving you some of the secrets of our recipes here. The very final step as we're wrapping up our prayer is to release and to let go. And why is this important? Well, because if we don't, we get in our own way, and I've seen this happen. So checking it twice, really activating the law, we have to be a part of it. That's the thing. We do have to make the list. We don't want to just walk through life hoping that we just can see what under our tree, that we didn't set any intention, and just hopefully it shows up. We get to be a part of it, which is exciting to me. So we do activate the law by making sure that we are deliberately using our creative power. So we treat, and we also do what? You guys are so good to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So it takes 2 to tango. And I mean, it's a balance. When you think about that dance between you and your partner, when you are making this creative display of music, I kind of think of it the same way when it comes to us in spirit. We're working together, and it has to be that perfect balance and harmony between what we request, what we identify as our aspirations or as our goals, and also being open-minded to the mechanics of how that shows up for us. And as soon as we start to get fixated on how is this going to happen, I can't even fathom how the pieces of the puzzle could come together to bring this to life for me, we start to get into that worry mindset. We start to now add fear and doubt into what we are asking or what we're writing on our list. It's like we put, I want a phone, maybe. Like, I'd like to get a teddy bear if you have one. Like, we're starting to add second things to our list that somewhat compromise what it is we're actually asking for. So being open to the mechanics of how it happens, but still recognizing that if we are in that dance, we have to move as well. We have to take time to identify what do we even want on that list. And the last thing that I really want to say about making that list, you have to make sure that you are aligned with what it is that you are asking for. I think what came to me when I was going through this and writing the speech, I'm like, you can't ask to be a successful chef, but never go to the kitchen. You can't ask to be the best singer in the world, but you're not doing your warm-ups. You have to be aligned with it from your behaviors to your actions to your beliefs. You don't always have to be perfect or have all the answers, but there's got to be a cohesiveness between where you are and how you show up and what it is that you're trying to achieve. So make your list, check it twice, maybe 3 times, no more than that. Okay, so I watched this TED Talk a really long time ago, and it was about the power of why. Has anybody heard of this? The power of why. And I've used this and I've learned this in a business aspect, and it's basically if you're training somebody to do something new or you're asking somebody to do something, you can show them what and how all day long. But until you expand upon why and what's in it for them, getting the repetition, getting the buy-in is nearly impossible. And I'm a why person. I like to ask questions. My teachers love me and hate me. I'm sure that there's a few people in this room that could probably attest to that. I gotta know why. Oh, you want me to pray and you want me to follow 5 steps, but why? And I've always just been that person. And I think it's okay. I think it's okay that we understand why we're being asked to let go of something. If I'm being asked to write a list, now you're telling me to let go? That doesn't quite make sense. So I really wanted to take a couple moments to talk about why. Well, if you know anything about the Buddhist philosophy, they say that suffering is the result of attachment. And so being able to release allows us to step aside and let the magic happen. We know that the law corresponds to our beliefs, to our thoughts, and to our feelings. So when we detach and release, it says that we trust that that law is going to say yes. Is that we trust that that law is going to show up and correspond to what we are planting in our garden or to what we are putting on our list, if I may. So if we, for any reason, are not allowing that process to be completely and fully surrendered, then we're actually, once again, compromising and telling the law, I want this, but I don't really believe it can show up for me. And the law has no choice but to respond to that thought as well. Also, doubt and attachment can signal that you just don't believe that you deserve it. And worry can create blinders. When I think back to the story of me as a kid, my gift was right in front of me. The one thing I had asked for was literally right in front of me. and I could not even see it. How many times has that happened in your own life as an adult, to where you've prayed for something, a blessing, a miracle, a solution, and the answer was kind of right in front of you, but you become foggy-minded and clouded, and your judgment gets all wrapped up, and you don't even recognize that it's right there. So when we detach, we kind of allow ourselves to remove the blinders and stay open, and it can also signal us to move towards that direction. I was also thinking about, okay, so why? Let's say, if we think about Santa once again as God, the universe, let's say Santa tells everybody in this room, give me 5 things on your list. I want you to write down 5 things that you really want and submit it back to me. So everybody's writing their 5 things and turning it in. But there's a couple people who maybe were in cahoots with the elves, and they heard that Santa's actually going to give everybody 10 gifts. He only asked for a list of 5, but everybody's going to actually get 10. So a couple of these people who got this information that they weren't supposed to get, by the way, start submitting more lists to Santa. And Santa's confused. Spirit's like, okay, I was already going to add to this list based on what I know about you, based on my infinite amount of being able to produce, being able to provide something bigger than what's on your list that I know is also aligned with your needs. So 5 that you choose, 5 that I choose. Once again, it's that tango, it's that co-creation. But now you've sent 8 more letters to Santa asking for things that you just have had this excellent explanation of why you need it. So here's Santa. Do I answer these requests, or do I surprise them with what I had in mind already? So this is conflicting. Well, after so many letters, what's Santa going to do? All right, all 10 items are from your list, nothing from my list. It's all going to be exactly what you asked for. Well, you were thinking there's a $25 limit per item. So all 10 items on your list were $25 each. You start looking around in the room the day of, and you see people with TVs and with tricks, vacation tickets, and you're looking around with your cute little goodie bag full of candles. Not to say that's bad, because you'll probably get that for Christmas from somebody. But you're looking around a little bit confused, because that allowance for something better, for something greater, you kind of blocked off because you were so particular trying to create every piece of that list and not leaving room for Spirit to also supply. And this was a big thing that I had to learn, because I'm a planner. I've learned that if you can be deliberate, then you can create. But sometimes we are shopping or creating with a $25 budget, and Spirit has no limits. So hopefully that metaphor clicked with you guys, because when I was going through it in my head, I was like, oh my goodness, yes, this is it. So also, the last thing in regards to why, I think about the tree as being symbolic of what we give and what we receive. You usually have gifts under your trees that you're probably going to give to others that are from you, and there's probably gifts that are for you. That, to me, makes me think of the law of circulation. It's all about giving and receiving. And so if there's any part of doubt or worry or anxiety that is attached to that process, you immediately create a clog in the wheel. Whether that's the energy around receiving gifts or around the gifts that you're giving, you create a clog that officially will block that law of circulation. And therefore, you can delay or even prevent your blessing from showing up. So now that we've talked about why it's so important to let go, maybe there's a little piece of you to start to think about, okay, I'm kind of more motivated to just be able to walk away, put my list out there, I've checked it twice, I'm done. Now let's talk about how you can practice letting go. You know why it's important. It's about bringing it to life. Well, I think that first of all, observing your mind, and I did a lot of different research and I pulled from a couple of different philosophies in regards to detachment and surrendering, and there was so much information, but one of the things that I got was observe your mind. Be mindful of your moods. Get in the habit of practicing watching your reactions, your ideas, your internal dialogue, fluctuation of feelings. What are your emotional tendencies, your responses, your energy? The more you can be aware of this, the more you can practice separating yourself from that identity of what those thoughts and those ideas are, which is so important. And so the key here is not to judge or overanalyze or critique what you're recognizing if you're starting to pay attention to your internal dialogue. It's to really take that time to neutrally reflect and just build the muscle, building the muscle of awareness, of being conscious, if I may. So it's all about building muscle, not about judging. So observe your mind. The second thing that you can do to practice being detached and letting go, because I feel like that word detachment sometimes has negative connotations, and I really want to acknowledge that. So maybe it's surrender that works better for you, or letting go, or accepting. So I want to make sure that, once again, you use the word that fits best for you. Observing and recognizing the difference between your ego voice and reality. And this can be tricky because a lot of times ego knows how to fit the bill. It's like a master of disguise, if I may, you know? So when I really thought about, okay, well, if something happens, immediately my brain starts going a million miles an hour, analyzing facts that are true, that are based on reality, that are not based on anything subjective, that are truly just data and input, versus my assumptions, my conclusions, my analytics. That's when you start to separate what is going on in ego and what's really going on with the facts. And the more you're able to separate that, you start to recognize that a lot of the times, half of the worry comes from something that's not even happening yet. It's our fear around what might happen. It's anticipating. It's telling ourselves a story, whether if it's to be prepared or just because this is what you're used to. It's not necessarily based on reality until you get stuck in that, and then it becomes reality. So practicing ego versus reality. Number 3, now this is going to be the toughest one, but I feel like this is one of the most important. Embracing uncertainty. I know. I didn't want to talk about it because I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's bound to happen. And when I think about that situation with Santa, if you leave room on that list, the things that you may be uncertain about could be better than you ever could have imagined. We know that one thing about uncertainty is it is guaranteed. So maybe that makes it a little bit easier to embrace because you know what's going to happen. I've really been practicing when something happens that was uncertain, that was unexpected, really taking 2 or 3 steps back to try to understand where the growth is, what the opportunity is, where can I find love in this situation. And have that childlike innocence where the things that you don't know actually are where you begin to tap into your imagination more. That, I think, is huge. There's a blessing in the uncertainty. Once again, leave room on that list. That's where the uncertain can be the answer to your prayers. So number 4 is meditate. Surprise, surprise. Of course, this is on the list. You know, this is what we do here. Not only does meditation allow you to carve out a specific sacred time where you can practice literally the act of surrendering. That's how I feel like meditation is for me a lot of the times. Surrendering my day. I'm surrendering the busy thoughts that I have, and I'm just allowing myself to be fully in a moment of acceptance of that one truth, that immutable truth of love, untouchable love. Not to mention all the benefits that it does for us physically as well as emotionally. So meditating can help us to get out of that place where we are feeling the need to control every aspect of what's going on our list. And then last but not least, which ties into meditation, these all really go hand in hand, live in the moment. I'm going to encourage everybody to take a really deep breath right now. If your feet are crossed, I'm going to encourage you to plant them. If your hands are tangled, I'm going to encourage you to separate them. If you find yourself slouching, I'm going to encourage you to adjust your posture. It's the things that we do that align with our senses, that are naturally always available to us, that take us out of the future and the past. They say any anxiety or depression stems from not being in the present moment. Anxiety is worrying too much about the future. Depression is worrying too much about what already happened. So when we tap into our senses, our breath, our body, the smell, the sounds, we allow ourselves to come back into this moment. And if you ask me, this moment feels pretty darn good. So once again, living in the moment, find your spiritual practice that works for you. Allow it to be what takes you back to your center. Slow down. Like, just slow down. And smell the roses, or the pine cones, if I may. And breathe. I think one of the songs that we just listened to, that was what I heard over and over again, was breathe it in. Breathe in that love and recognize that right here, right now, we are provided for. And it's really easy to get so caught up on what's under our tree that we forget that the tree itself is what's providing the oxygen, that the tree itself is the blessing. Whew, guys, I didn't even think of half of this today, so I don't know what's happening right now with Spirit taking over, because I really could not have planned all this, but thank you for just bearing with me. So my takeaways for today: it's okay to be curious. Having that childlike curiosity, I think, is one of the most beautiful gifts that we can have and that we can share this season. But too much curiosity can lead to doubt, Too much anticipation can turn into being able to step into that anxiety, which we really don't want. So being curious, but checking the list twice and letting it go. Trusting in your highest good. Being able to surrender by trusting in that immutable force that always shows up for our highest good. And lastly, be patient with yourself. Being able to surrender, being able to let go, to release, it takes patience. When I was really thinking about this, from the moment that we're conceived, we are attached via an actual umbilical cord. We are attached to life from another person. I think our whole life is about breaking that programming, still recognizing our connectedness, but not being attached in ways that we've always been trained to be, so we can step aside and allow God to show up for us. So with that being said, I'm going to invite my colleagues to join me in our prayer. And I'm just going to really encourage everybody to step back into that space as we just take a couple of deep breaths at your own pace, breathing in that love, that courage, that infinite presence, that love that says, I am exactly where I'm meant to be. Exhaling any worry that you currently have residing in your body, any tension. Every exhale, it just separates, it dissolves, it moves away from you. Recognizing that this power of love, this one infinite mind, delivers. God is breath. God is love. God is life. And therefore, as I think about how I show up in this world, I know that I am everything that I need. It is within me. We are provided for, and we are the providers. And so as I know this truth for me, I know it true for everybody in this audience. And so as we take this moment to really remember who we are, not only are we similar to Santa's elves, we are Santa. We are God itself. We are the thing itself. There's nothing that can stop us from tapping into that full knowingness. And so as we move forward in our day, move forward in our lives, allow ourselves to just have that confidence, that childlike innocence that says, I trust that what is meant to be for me already is done. It's perfect, it's whole. So whether it's relationship issues, financial issues, whether there's health issues, we know that there is a perfect blueprint that is in spirit, that is ours to tap into, to recognize, and to align with. And therefore, as we give thanks in advance, as we recognize that gratitude is the propellant to push us forward, closer to our goals and our true selves, we just allow that stirring in our heart like a fireplace to just bring that warmth to this moment. Knowing that we bring that fire and that light that ignites the passions of those around us. We are the way makers, and so we just give thanks. Giving thanks that we can take this time to let it go without resistance. Releasing all of this knowingness into the working of the law that always says yes. And so we just let it be. We let it go. And so it is.
Always
right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is our time in the service where we get to practice that beautiful law of circulation. So if you would love to join me in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. Thank you. It's my favorite part. I have two. Oh, perfect.
I show respect. Take time to listen and reflect. I walk a straight path, paved in kindness, freely giving, never looking back. 'Cause I believe in everything I see, be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Yes, I believe, and that's what makes me free. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Commitment to the art of living, purposeful and true. Commitment to the art of living and loving all you do. I sit in silence, I show respect. Take time to listen and reflect. Everybody, I walk a straight path, paved in kindness, freely giving, never looking back. 'Cause I believe in everything I see. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Yes, I believe, and that's what makes me free. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Be it Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, or love. Jesus, Allah, oneness, God, it's all love.
Okay. As we are coming to a close, we are remembering. Make a list. Check it how many times?
Twice!
How many times?
Twice!
Only twice. Treat and move your feet, people. Treat and move your feet. And why? Because we allow the magic to happen. We trust that the law always says,
Yes!
always says,
Yes!
always says,
Yes!
There we go. Yes. Because when we observe our mind, our internal dialogue, we separate ourselves from what we believe needs to happen, and we trust that Spirit always has our front, our back, and everything in between. Build that muscle. Okay, and our affirmation. I trust, I release, I know that Spirit always has my back. So I trust, I release, I know Spirit's always got my back.
I know Spirit's always got my back.
And so it is.
And so it is.
More music.